All right, look, y'all. I'm gonna be straight up with you. The Amber Guyger shit, the verdict, the brother hugging her, the judge hugging her, the bailiff fixing her hair. It's a bad look. I don't care about your arguments that, well, we can't tell the family how to grieve. Um, I don't really care about how, we should still be able to show compassion and be able to forgive and show forgiveness for somebody that has done us wrong. We shouldn't hold on to that type of stuff. We shouldn't be so vengeful, right? We shouldn't be so happy about this woman going to jail, even though she's done this family wrong. And by extension, done us wrong as a people. You know, I don't care. It was a bad look. And I'm going to tell you after the intro. All right. So, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Thank you for tuning in to another installment of Dangerous Minds. I hate this has got to be the first episode coming back. We're going to talk about the new digs. You're not going to really see the futon because I'm by myself in this episode, but I promise with further episodes there will be more guests. There will be opportunities for you to win prizes. I will talk about that more at the end of the video, but with this situation, I have been, really trying to come to grips, trying to figure out exactly what I was looking at. Because that display in that courtroom after Amber Guyger got her guilty verdict was just mind-blowing like a motherfucker. For multiple reasons. For starters, when the day before all of that, the day before she got her official sentence and, everybody was so ecstatic. As far as I could remember, and I could be wrong, please correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong about this, but I can't really think of too many other situations where a cop has killed, a white cop or a police officer in general, because they ain't always white, but they are always cops, that have killed an unarmed black person and has been formally charged is always, suspended without pay or administrative leave, or they may even get fired just to end up getting another job at another police station or another department or whatever. But to see somebody actually get a guilty verdict has been something that hasn't happened, but there's been so many situations where an unarmed black person has been killed by the hands of a police officer and has been pretty much unavenged, has received no justice for someone taking their life. And then, so people were ecstatic. People were on Twitter celebrating, talking shit, like, yeah, this woman's gonna go to jail, seeing mad memes and gifs, poking fun of the situation, but at least celebrating the fact that there was at least some justice served. Now, the fact that she only got 10 years and she's probably only gonna serve half that for good behavior is bullshit, but it's something, all right? We went from getting nothing, not guilty verdicts, probation, slaps on the wrist, a whole lot of nothing for a long time. So for her to at least get some type of jail sentence was enough. I personally thought, oh, they're just gonna give her like a year or two. We've seen so many cases of, shit like that happening. But the display of sympathy from the family, from the judge and the bailiff in the courtroom, it almost undid all of that. It almost undid all of that good feeling and good, vibes that people had about this situation. And for the people that supported this family in this situation, it made a lot of people feel foolish. Now, people will say, well, you can't tell people how to grieve. You can't tell this family, who are the real victims in this situation, how to react to this situation, how they choose to forgive and move on. Because regardless of if this woman goes to jail for the rest of her life or not, it's not going to bring their family back, which I understand that. But first of all, it just felt weird. It felt like, unless this family is just that, compassionate for somebody else, regardless of the wrong that somebody's done to them. Like, I'm looking at families like, Eric Garner's family, or Trayvon Martin's family, or Mike Brown's family, all these other families that have been in these similar situations, having an unarmed family member of theirs killed by the hands of a police officer. And even though they did get a guilty verdict, they just did not seem as broken up. They did not seem as heartbroken. They lost their brother, their son, their family. That whole situation, to me, their reaction, their almost uncaring expression was just so weird. I mean, who knows? Like I said, I'm only speculating from what I've seen. They may have been broken up behind the scenes. It may be a whole lot of turmoil that's going on personally with them that I have no idea about. And I can't sit here and say whether or not, they're broken up. But just to me, it just didn't feel like, they didn't come across as people that just lost somebody that they really love and care about the way that they did. But, that to the side, right? Them saying, well, the brother saying that he wanted to hug her. And now forgiveness is fine, but like the hug just felt like it was a step too far. Like, it just felt like it was another situation of Black people being so sympathetic to our oppressors. This woman did you wrong. If you choose to forgive her, that's fine. Why did you have to embrace her though? You can forgive someone without embracing somebody. But all right, fine. It just felt like a slap in the face to me. It felt like a slap in the face to a lot of people that have gotten behind this family, that have been sympathetic. The bullshit of the case, because the woman wasn't even charged before, till the day after. Like, she was free to go home and all this other stuff the day after the shooting, the incident, even though everybody knew what was going on. So they waited a day so her system, because she was high or drunk or whatever, the reason she's saying that why she ended up at the wrong place, the wrong apartment, her saying that she should have been tested for whatever substance she was on. But they gave it time for whatever it was to get out of her system, or at least not to be as detectable as it would have been the night of. And then it just felt like everybody was very, saying similar situations, administrative leave. Then she was fired. It just didn't, but it felt like people were moving at a snail's pace. And they were trying to paint her as this victim from the jump. So a lot of people rallied behind her, because we've seen this story, we've seen how it played out before. We rallied behind this family against her in this situation. So it just felt like a slap in the face. But you know what? Setting them aside, right? Because like I said, we're not the ones, the people from the outside looking in trying to support this family. We're not the ones that lost the family. We're not the ones that had to bury their loved one in this situation. Regardless of how personal we feel about this situation, us as Black people, this is stuff that we deal with all the time in the news. It could be any one of us at any time. So we all feel like we have to rally behind these situations as they come along. But we take it personal, but it isn't us being affected personally. So I get that. But the professionalism between the judge and the bailiff cannot be excused. I don't see any judge in the position that they're in hugging the murderer or the she was convicted at that point, the convicted murderer, in any situation, accident or not, if they were black, man, woman, if their skin was not white, she would have not hugged that woman. And then people trying to say, well, she hugged the family too, and then I guess she reached out to her for a hug and she was hesitant. No, it wouldn't be a bad look. Somebody is convicted or is being accused of murder and was convicted of murder. You do not have to hug anybody. At that point, if you can't tell somebody that is a convicted murderer, I don't think that's gonna be a good look. Regardless of how you felt or not personally, it's a bad look. And it's a bad look in general, but it was just extra bad because she was a black woman. And then the bailiff fixing her hair as she's, I think that's when they were reading off the sentence, like the time that she would be spending in prison. Like trying to comfort her. I looked at that situation like possibly she was, or the bailiff was showing some kind of solidarity as a fellow police officer, which still is a bunch of bullshit because this woman murdered somebody off the clock in their own home. When you look at all the situations, I remember when this stuff was really starting to kick off, almost every other week, day, it felt like there was somebody unarmed and black being killed by a police officer that was showing up in the news. Eric Garner, Troy Davis, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown. I guess Trayvon Martin wasn't killed by an unarmed police officer, but you get my point. It was somebody unarmed and black being killed by a police officer or somebody of another race. I don't know what Zimmerman is. I think he's white. And shit not happening to him. And then painting them in a bad light. And even if the bailiff was not black, right? Even if the bailiff was not a black person, because I can't remember if it was man or woman at this point. I'm processing the thoughts. I'm not really putting genders and all this other shit. All I care about is the fact that your title, your job title, at that moment she was a criminal. She committed a crime, accident or not. Like I remember, like I was listening to The Breakfast Club, and they were discussing the situation. And one thing that really pissed me off was how DJ Envy, I don't know whether he was playing devil's advocate or was he just trying to see it from a different perspective or whatever, but it just sounded like a bunch of bullshit. Like, I don't understand how you people can have selective amnesia. These situations have been happening to us time and time again. We have seen this story before. And if the shoe was on the other foot, if she was a black woman and she walked into a white man's house by accident, but was afraid for her life and decided to kill this man in cold blood in his own home, thinking that she was in her own, I don't think this story would be I don't think this story would be framed as an accident. I don't think the thought of it being an accident, the thought that maybe she just did not have malice and want to kill this man, wouldn't even be taken into account. Overall, with this whole shitty situation, the only thing we want is equal accountability across the board. If you're going to take a black person and a white person and they both commit the same crime, I want them both to get the same treatment. I don't want this man here, a black man, getting 15 to 20 years and this white man gets 6 months probation. I don't want this white woman to get a couple years in jail or a year in probation, and then this black woman gets about 30, 40. We've seen this thing play out time and time again. And just the idea, just the fact that people are defending the acts of the family you may be able to understand it. But there's no justification for this judge or this bailiff to do the shit that they were doing. It was disrespectful on so many levels. It was disrespectful to the family, regardless of how they felt. It was disrespectful to the many other cases where the person in Amber Guyger's position was black and they did not get that same sympathy or that same treatment. I just read about a case in Florida. This guy, he just overslept for jury duty and got 10 days in jail. He got 10 days in jail, like about 150 hours community service and like a $250 fine for oversleeping and missing jury duty for a day. And this judge showed him zero sympathy. A guy that had no criminal background. He was just a young black man that was, you know, for the most part, an upstanding, well, I mean, as far as I know, an upstanding member of society. And he was showing zero sympathy. This guy did not give this judge did not give a single fuck about nothing else but the fact that this guy did something. Even whether you look at it like it was bullshit, but he showed no sympathy. But this woman committed murder and was getting all the love and like comforting that she was getting in that courtroom made me sick on so many different levels. So regardless of how you feel, regardless of the compassion that you felt that this family, or the strength that this family had to have forgiveness and show this woman forgiveness, I just want you to just keep your eyes peeled for any other cases like this. And I want to know whether equally or less heinous than the crime that Amber Guyger did. I want you to, I want you to keep your eyes and ears open if there was any sympathy shown by the victims or their families, the bailiff or the judge, if they were black. And I just want us to keep a tally of this shit and just see if we're getting the same treatment. Because at some point, we as a people need to stop trying to be the bigger person, trying to be more sympathetic to these motherfuckers, because it has been going on for years and I don't really see that getting through to that many people. So fuck Amber Guyger, fuck that judge, fuck that bailiff. And look, if the family feels at peace with the display that they showed in that courtroom, fine, but just know that it felt like a slap in the face to all the other people that supported this. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it here because I'm gonna just keep rambling and talking shit. So I appreciate you tuning in to this episode of Dangerous Minds. Like I said, if you keep watching every other Tuesday, starting, when this episode comes out, then you have an opportunity to win a prize. So the best comment under this video, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I'm not sensitive. You can tell me how I'm wrong as shit. I don't care. I just want the best comment. If you're gonna come at my neck or if you're gonna agree with me, make it good. And I promise to send you one of these. I will send you one of these, and if you take a picture with yourself wearing one of the Dangerous Minds buttons, I promise to add your your photo to the end of the next episode. But until then, it's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous. Please subscribe to the channel, like and share this video, and I'll see you next time. Much love.